let's continue on the third lecture for quality management class. Previously, we have learned on identifying customers. Remember, we have internal and external customers. Then we also learn about process. So just a recap, a process is transformation of the input from the supplier into the output to the customer. Okay? Many companies believe that quality control is something that you do after the product is made or the service is provided. What do you think? Here is a cautionary tale involving two consultants. One believed in quality control after the event, one didn't. Samuel Slop, a management consultant who has been hired to give a lecture tomorrow. So this guy here, Samuel, think that, oh, I have done this 1,000 times before. It's a breeze, easy peasy, nothing to worry. So let's see what happened the next morning. So he went to the lecture hall, and when he asked the reception for the room for his lecture, and the guy said, sorry sir, there is no entry for your lecture in the book. Uh-oh. Samuel did not book any room for his lecture. So he was panicked. A room? Any room? Can I get any room? So they then managed to get him a cubbyhole, a small tiny room to accommodate all his delegates. So they were in a small room, congested, and even worse, he didn't even provide any lecture notes. Meanwhile, in another consultant office, this lady has a secretary working with her, and like you can see here, oh, hello, Mrs. Vice Secretary here, just checking on the number of delegates in her seminar next week. So she already asked her secretary to check out on the number of delegates, one, and she's been prepared a week before the seminar. And she, at the same time, she's also checking her notes, handouts, and overheads. And just before the seminar, she checked whether the slides are working well, the projector is working, and even better, she has a backup to use the whiteboard if the projector failed to work. So she's well prepared for her seminar. Let's see how's the response. So from here, you can see that her delegates were really happy. They were saying that, oh, it's well prepared seminar. She certainly knows her stuff. And they really enjoy her lecture. So the first consultant did not take the elementary precaution of making sure his inputs were right before supplying his service, the output. The second consultant made her quality check first, all the input. Remember, she did check the room, the number of delegates, to ensure everybody is happy, comfortable for the seminar. She also checked her slides, the projector, all the stuff that she needs to use during her seminar. So that's the inputs, the quality check that she did before the event. So our first consultant was too concerned about the outputs, the seminar of his service. So he neglected some of crucial inputs to check on the room, to check on the projector and everything. And he didn't even prepare the notes, which is the important inputs for the seminar. It is necessary to move the emphasis on quality from outputs to inputs. And if you remember how suppliers and customers make up a quality chain, it's the same goes for inputs and outputs, because the inputs from the supplier will influence the output for the customer, and this is a process. And the process workout between them enables a satisfactory exchange to be made between supplier and customer. at every link in the quality chain. So this is what we call quality chain in the organization. You can see there's external supplier, external customer, and the one inside is internal supplier and internal customer. So the input from supplier transform into the output for the customer, and this is one process. So in quality chain, there's many process at interface between suppliers and customers. Any process will be flawed and be a source of problem if the supplier does not pay enough attention to his or her inputs. So when a company or unit inspects its product just before they pass on to their next customer, this is not quality control. This is detection. So what is quality control? Quality is being controlled or managed by checking and rejecting rates. The question being asked is, have we done the job correctly? Whereas what should be asked is, are we capable of doing the job correctly? So to get the answer yes, a total quality management (TQM) approach is needed. So you need satisfactory method, material, skills and knowledge, instruction, and satisfactory process. And all this is the input, not the output. The output is the quality of the service or the product. So, like I said before, a process is the transformation of a set of inputs into a set of outputs. So, like this guy, he's making a teddy bear of soft toys. So, what are the inputs and outputs? Let's look at this figure. You can see this is Tat-O-Matic, the company making the teddy bear. So, inputs are the actions, methods, operations, how they make the teddy bear, who are working on each part of the teddy bear, and from which department. All that are the inputs. And what are the outputs? The product, the service. In this case, is the teddy bear. So again, this is just one process. So if we look to another process, so now they already make or fabricate the teddy bear. What's next? They need to market the teddy bear to the customer. How to do it? Again, there's inputs and output. So the input here again is actions, method, and operations. So how can they promote? So what is the best way to attract kids, because this is teddy bear is for kids and also the parents. So they have to think all that, and this is the input. So the output is something that can be transferred to the customer so that somebody will buy the teddy bear. Again, so this is really important in quality management. You have to know how to draw this and label it properly. So we have external supplier, external customer at each end, and in between we have the supplier customer chain, and this form a process. So to complete a product or service, normally they have a long chain, and sometimes it can be very complicated like this, and it can go parallel or simultaneously throughout the organization. So any particular process can be analyzed by examining the inputs and outputs. The examination will determine some of the actions necessary to improve the quality. It is often necessary to move the emphasis in controlling quality from outputs to inputs, but they are always connected together. The inputs, outputs, and this form a process. In fact, if you define, monitor, and control inputs in order to meet the requirements of the customer, you should produce a satisfactory output every time. At every supplier-customer interface, there is a process. Like we say just now, so supplier and customer, so that is one process. And you have many repeatedly process from different department and different people, but the combination of this process will give you the product that you want for the customer. So let's say here we have store, production, goods out. So let's say in organization, as you know, there are different departments. We have store, um, we have production line, assembly line, manufacturing line, sales, marketing. So all of the different departments play their own roles. They have their own input, their output, and their own process to control. So by making sure processes are sound, we know we can do the job correctly. So we have to control the process. Each process is really important to be controlled. So a process which will be unique to that situation will result in an output which is at the same time an input to another part of the organization. Let's say the materials, the raw materials, obviously kept in the store. So the storekeeper will be the internal supplier to his friend in the production line, for example. So the production line will be the internal customer. And when they make something, the product, so at that stage, and they will pass it to the assembly line. So now the production department become the internal supplier to the assembly line. Assembly line will be the internal customer, and this thing goes on and on and on until they get the final product that they can sell or market to the customer. So by continuing to do the job correctly, a company can actually guarantee that the quality of the product is tip-top, good, high product every single time, because they have already controlled the process at each stages. So this is what we call quality control. The strategy of detection has been replaced by one prevention. So they have assured that the product is good. Attention must be concentrated at the beginning of the process at the inputs. So we have seen this figure before. So the inputs such as materials, procedures, methods, people, skills, knowledge, and all these are the inputs that will influence the outputs such as the product, service, information, paperwork, etc. So who do the quality job? So we have quality control and quality assurance. The control of quality can be carried out at the point of operation. So like this guy, he said, oh, I should get it right because I can read my boss writing. So that's one input. I know my computer and the word processor package. I know the requirement. So this is quality control because he can control the process. This is not quality control. Did you get it right? No, this is detection, not quality control. The act of inspection is not quality control. Quality control is at each operation, each process, not at the end after they got the product. So let's say you are the boss, the manager, and you're asking yourself, have we done the job correctly? And you have to check with all your departments producing the company's product. Okay, for if all the departments say yes, 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 so you can assure that the quality, the activity of detecting is replaced by one of quality assurance. That means the quality is good because all the departments say yes, we have done the job correctly. So there's no worries. And keeping the data, the correct data of inputs and outputs will audit the system and help prevent the problems. Quality assurance will cut across departmental boundaries. So that means quality assurance will prevent of quality problem through planned and systematic activities. So they will do all the documentation, the standards for each departments, and the department have to follow to ensure the quality is correct for what they want at the end. Okay, so and at each department controlling the process, the operation, that is quality control. Okay, so quality control actually the activities or techniques employed to achieve and maintain that quality of a product set, the process or service. It monitors, it also finds and helps eliminate cause the problems, okay, during the process or operation, not at the end when you already get your product or service provided to customer. Here are the summary from what we have discussed in this lecture. You can read this on your own. In a total quality setting, customer needs are identified clearly as a normal part of product development. The goal should be to meet or even better, to exceed customer expectation, not merely meet them. That is very dangerous. So you have to make your customer satisfied, happy. So you have to meet the requirements or exceed the customer expectations. Your customer should boast about how much they benefit from what you do for them. They should know your contribution as a supplier to meet their expectations. So to attain this goal, you must collect reliable information on what they need and want from your product or service. So you should know what your customer want. Okay, you don't want to produce something that nobody is going to buy. Okay, so you have to communicate with your customer. There are 6 steps strategy for identifying customer needs. So basically, you have to speculate about results, and then you develop an information gathering plan, gather the information, then you analyze the results, make sure they are reliable, and always check the results. Then you check the validity of the conclusions. Okay, the results will affect the conclusion, so you have to check whether the results is valid so that you make a solid and valid conclusions, because from the conclusion you are going to take actions. Okay, so how to communicate with customers we will learn in the next lecture.